Hello there, Hedge here. Video game skin analysis, Rust, a written piece I read quite recently by a Dr. Blake Porter. It's a thorough insight to skin sales from back in 2019 to see if data can be read to identify patterns and figure out what's most viable to profit from. It's an interesting read and I'll link it in the description. When you compare it to the likes of today, it's quite obvious that the behaviour with the Rust market has changed a bit. Sales data can now be tracked with websites such as Scm to help us properly visualise the amount of sales each skin has each week. Most importantly for me, it helps me notice possible problems that can affect me and my potential investments. We're going to learn what exactly has changed in 3 years, understand how this happened, and identify what these potential problems are.
Brought to you by Hedge. For all you investors out there, it's time for another Rust Economy 101 video.
Dumping and oversaturation. First of all, let's establish a problem that I've already mentioned before that affected my potential profits. Dumping. Yes, dumping. A subject I'm not very happy with if you saw my Christmas momentum video. I've seen this happen a lot more recently nowadays with Rust, which affects everybody who invests into skins weekly or just occasionally. This can be based on certain times, like when the skin is finally marketable after the 7-day cooldown, or if it spikes in price in the future based on certain reasons. In this video, I aim to help people understand what happens, learn the details and how to anticipate it, and how to avoid doing it yourself. Dumping. So if you recall, I had a talk about dumping in a post-Christmas video, and I'll continue from there. My issue with dumping is that it can easily be prevented and badly affects everyone who may have invested in a particular skin. But I need to clearly visualise to you people who might dump their stock of skins onto the market that doing this also reduces the potential for you to earn greater profits because it stops gradual price increases. So this is the Solar MP5. This is the Burnout MP5. So what I want to show you is what happens when people dump in a big quantity. Let's take into consideration someone wants to buy this skin. So they buy this skin, it's $1.22, now it goes up to $1.26. Another few people want to buy this skin. It's still $1.26. Another few people want to buy this skin. It's still $1.26. Hasn't changed much, has it? But let's go look at this Burnout MP5. Came out about a year or two ago. Someone wants to buy this skin. Alright, it was $1.64. Oh, now it's gone up to $1.93. A few more people want to buy it. Oh, okay. Now it's gone up to about $2. Another few people want to buy it. Oh, suddenly it's about $2.20. After about 10 to 15 purchases, this gun has suddenly gone up by about 60 cents. Because of this individual here, with the Burnout MP5, he has bottlenecked this price to be here. If he didn't have this right here, the price would go up a whole lot more natural with the natural demand that this skin might have. But because of this one particular individual, it's never going to happen nicely rise up in price unless he either removes all that quantity or by some luck there is enough demand where people actually buy out all of that quantity there. But that can be quite slow, and quite a lot of people who like to see an investment, they're not going to want to buy into a skin that has such a high quantity on the market. So yeah, there you go. That is MP5 skins. That is the trouble with dumpers and how they can ruin a skin's value just by the way they behave. If you keep things nice and thin, with the demand of the skin comes the nice natural demand, natural rise in price, and then it becomes a much more valuable skin. People might notice the rise in price and start dumping then, so there is that kind of problem. But with Rust skins, with the amount in circulation and whatnot, it doesn't usually end up like that. Typically, you then see a bunch of people that will do a real big fat buy order as they notice skins start to rise in price. However, with a lot of newer skins, it only goes up to a certain point. So I'm not here to condone or hate on people.
Why would you cap your own profits?
As I said, my aim is to inform people about this and hopefully prevent newer people from being reckless. Because By flooding the market with too much quantity, the skin is much less likely to naturally increase in price with demand, an issue I had with several skins back during the post-Christmas time. So next, I want to give some context about quantities on the Steam market and what likely caused a recent change to skin purchase frequency. Steam market quantities. To give you a good understanding, Rust economy is not as big as the CSGO economy. CSGO economy has so much more people involved and many people constantly buying and selling skins. There is also the ability to use those skins in trade-up contracts, meaning they always have some form of value and even the more expensive skins can still be traded up. These skins can have thousands of listings and people won't be dissuaded or put off, they will still buy them. Now compare that to Rust. Something I've noticed over the years is that item quantities on the Steam market does affect the price of the item. I used to say it was rare to see skins with a quantity higher than 100 on the Steam market. This would definitely be around the time when Dr. Porter wrote his analysis.
Oh god, those chest plates were a bad investment.
But we've had an influx of more frequent investors in recent times, which can be assumed is because Rust has gotten more popular. In recent times, it's now a regular sight to see skin quantities on the Steam market having over 100 quantity. So what exactly inspired so many more people to invest into the Rust economy? I believe the point of change was around when the offline TV server event happened on Twitch in late 2020 to early 2021. In short, a Twitch group called Offline TV, consisting of various popular Twitch streamers, decided to make their own Rust server to enjoy, based on a similar experience with Minecraft. What eventually happened was more and more popular Twitch streamers requested to join the server, which then led Rust to becoming the most watched game on Twitch at the beginning of 2021. Many people watching led to a major increase in sales for Rust, as it was conveniently discounted during the winter 2020 sale. This led to Rust achieving its highest ever player count average. This then caused a massive increase for skin demand. On average, all skins doubled or even tripled in price during this time period. I believe this started a new era where skins were being bought much more from the Rust store, leading to the higher quantities on average for skins in the Steam market. Only popular skins manage to hold up their value with a sheer amount of quantity because the demand for them is constant. But unfortunately, many other skins simply don't have the demand and suffer in decreasing value. Here is where we identify a problem which leads to dumping. So for example, let's look at the Bombing Road Sign kilt. This was the first creator skin I saw to have over 1,000 listings at once, and it suffered greatly. Far too many were bought in excess, and it still shows that effect today. What you see here is oversaturation. Oversaturation. Oversaturation with Rust skins is basically when far too much quantity has been bought compared to the actual demand of the skin. This is exactly what happened with the bombing kilt, so sit back because we're going to learn what happened to it and see the result. Firstly, I want to look at November 12, 2020 to show an example for a reasonable week by the standard of this time. The sales only reached up to around 10,000 for the skins, but that would be partly down to not too much demand for these skins. In comparison, we will now look at December 3, 2020, with the No Mercy boots and bombing hoodie and pants selling for over 20,000 each. To give some context with the No Mercy boots, they were one of the later skins to appear out of the popular No Mercy set, so that's justified in its strong demand. But what about the bombing hoodie and the pants? What's special about them? Well, that was due to a mix of anticipation and speculation. See, the hoodie and the pants were actually introduced to the workshop on November 22, but weren't added to the Rust store until December 3, of course. During that time, another pair of bombing skins appeared in the workshop. On November 30, the bombing high quality mask and chestplate were also added to the workshop, and that is what justified their demand. People were anticipating that bombing was going to be a new and popular set, which was proven correct with the very next Rust store. The high quality metal armour being highly in demand with its hype just before the seasonal Christmas skins. But this is where we enter when the offline TV server happened, and it just so happened that the bombing set was used by streamers and was seen by many viewers. By fate, the Tier 2 armour for the bombing set was introduced to the workshop on January 4, 2021, with the next Rust store rotation going to be appearing on January 7. Many new people had recently been playing Rust and noticed the opportunity to make some good money with the Rust skins, as the road sign kilt would finally complete the bombing set. So this of course led to tons of excess purchases being made, and by that I mean people buying extra quantity purely with the intent to sell. The result? Over 60,000 purchases for the road sign kilt alone. Too many people bought extra quantity, as you can see in comparison to the bombing vest and helmet, which only had around 43,000 sales. Those numbers aren't very equal, are they? That's just the Tier 2 armour. When you compare it to the previous pieces of the bombing collection, there are too many vests and helmets for the hoodie and pants as well. In theory, based on hoodie and pants only having around 22,000 sales, that would be the maximum possible instances of complete bombing sets, and would be a number more relative to being the number for actual demand. Something for you to keep in mind for future skin collections. When oversaturation happens, the skin ends up becoming flooded on a market with high quantities, and eventually it will keep decreasing in value over time. The prices begin to drop, sellers start undercutting each other people start panicking and dumping their entire stock, and the value of the skin will likely stay below the price it sold for in the Rust store forever. This is something that tends to happen weekly now, as you can see in the following clip. This sold in the store for $2 and it's now $1.91. So this has actually survived undercutting. There you go, right there. Quick seller, immediately. And what happens after a quick seller appears? People that are scared and they need to undersell. Then there's the undercutter, and then another undercutter, and then another undercutter, and then someone who actually gets really scared. He thinks he's going to lose all his money, so he sells his entire stock. And then you get more undercutters and undercutters and undercutters and undercutters and undercutters. It's a story that's told every single week. Inexperienced sellers, people that don't know what they're doing. This is what it's like now. But with SCMM, you can be smarter in how you approach this. So now, I'm going to explain to you how you can detect oversaturation with SCMM and figure out how to approach skins in the future. Identifying possible oversaturation. So by now you should realise I'm more of a buy order investor. What pushed me to approach buying skins mostly this way was due to weekly skin prices dropping quite quickly on average. There used to be a time where we could buy skins straight from the store and sell them a week or two later and make some reasonable profits, much like what Dr. Porter did. But now that so much more people do this, I always anticipate skin prices to suffer initially when they become marketable after their 7-day cooldown. I keep an eye on SCMM daily, tracking the total sales per skin. Usually it's not too hard to notice when a skin has far too many purchases, but there is also some background or relatable context to work with as well. Let's take a look back when I was analysing the Black Gold Revolver. Right, so Black Gold Revolver, this is a funny one. So revolver skins tend to be a super reliable, safe investment. I actually bought 100 of these Headhunter revolvers recently. I honestly thought, yeah, due to the current situation where a revolver, I believe it's a tier 1 gun, tier 1 workbench, super easy to get the resources for it, super reliable to run around and shoot people with. If you lose it, it's not the end of the world. People don't worry. So it's a perfectly fine sort of Zerg gun to run around with. People love to use it, and therefore, with such a high gun demand comes with a very good demand for its skins. And as you can see, not a single revolver skin is below its Rust store price. All of them have done very, very nicely. But now we are currently looking at the Black Gold Revolver. Now when we look at all of the Black Gold skins, you can see, well, a lot of them have been doing badly, but when we look at the Black Gold Thompson, that's done very nicely, and that's because with the amount that were bought compared to the amount that the Thompson gets used in game, well, it's a very nice healthy comparison. When you look at the likes of the amount that were bought for the MP5, there's far too many bought in excess. So this only had 23,000 sales. This had 35,000 sales almost. This had far too many bought in excess, and it suffered, and it's now down by 56% of its original restore price, whereas the Black Gold Thompson has flourished and it's up by 33%. It's in the positive. So we are aware, as I just said, revolvers do get used a lot, and now we have the Black Gold revolver, and its current sales is only sitting at around less than 11,000. Currently, when you compare it to all the other Black Gold skinned weapons that we've had, this is currently the least selling one, which could also be a blessing in disguise. It's not about demand. It's not about, like, is there genuine demand in this gun? It's so low. Oh no, people probably don't want it. No. This is more likely a case of there's a lot less people who are buying in excess, which is good. It's good, because then it's less likely going to be dumped. You know how I used the MP5 and the Thompson as a good example, as a comparison? Well, this is because they are like the second and the third most used guns in the game at the moment. Very easy to get their components and craft them. It's not too hard to do that. So they go hand in hand as a good second and third most used gun for Rust. Let's go take a look at how many there are in the market. So I said this was a much more comfortable, reasonable amount bought. Only 75 of them are on the market. That is quite low. Right now it's selling for $6.62. That's the cheapest one on the market right now, and its buy orders are matching up quite nicely up to it as well. That's nice to see. However, when we look at the MP5, how many of them are on the market? 552. You are seeing a classic case of oversaturation and dumping. 24 there, 9, 8, yeah. This isn't crazy dumping here, but what's likely happened is someone has dumped maybe about 300 of them at around $5 around here somewhere. But of course other people have started to sell theirs, undercut each other. Someone's probably dumped his stock of 18 here. You know, it's not looking good. It does not look appealing. As you can see, 552. What investor is going to walk along, see that and think, oh yeah, I want to buy into that. That's looking very nice. But this also had the thing of the AK came out before it. And when the AK first appeared on the market, it was so hyped up. There's a lot of fear of missing out that came with it. That this rose up to $10 on the Steam market. And people seeing that, and the MP5 was the next one in the store, everybody jumped in and bought out as many as they could. So this had about 32,000 sales, but this had about 35,000 sales. There was more bought in excess. And with more bought in excess, there was far too many people trying to buy them with the pure intent to sell them. And when they start dumping their stock on the market, and then they all start undercutting each other, and then worried people seeing it happen and start putting theirs on the market and undercutting them, and then it causes a domino effect. And with so many being put on the market, the value of the skin goes down, prices go down, and there's just a ton of quantity on there as well. So it just doesn't look very appealing, and unfortunately the value has now gone down by 56%. These are things you have to keep an eye on every single week. You have to keep an eye out for potential signs of oversaturation. You have to consider actual demand. So how many people are actually buying this to actually use it, and how many people, of course, are buying it in excess to just sell it. At the moment, I don't think the revolver has too many purchases in excess. Revolver skins do get used a lot. They have a lot of love for them. There's a lot of people that love them, so it's looking fine. I feel like, as of now, even though it's Tuesday, we still got technically another 2 days of this being in the Rust store. It should be fine. So if you're thinking about buying a few extra ones, I wouldn't expect it to do brilliantly straight away, but in good time, due to the sheer lack of due to the sheer lack of extra sales, due to people not wanting to buy in excess so much compared to all the previous Black Gold skins, it's very likely this will flourish as in the long term. Sorry for mumbling a bit. I haven't drunk any water and I've spoke far too much. Yeah, it should be a safe investment. In that analysis clip you just saw, you'd have heard me mention a key point I say there: gun demand. which is a detail you would understand if you actually play the game. And just to clarify, it's another label for actual demand, but obviously for guns in game. See, you have to understand that the driving force with how well a skin will do is if the actual item that is being skinned is even being used in the game. But even then, there are factors such as too many frequent skins for an item and far too many purchases that are in circulation, which can affect value as it affects the demand. Although, in that same analysis clip, I added context to the situation with the Black Gold revolver. I understood the overall behaviour with the revolver, being one of the most used tier 1 weapons. It's very approachable to acquire, very easy to craft, and it's not a huge loss if you possibly die, which equals to high gun demand, which of course led to its skins doing very nicely. My second thought was to look at its skin set, which is Black Gold. I would compare the current sales of the revolver with the other skins from the set, noticing the situation with the Thompson and in comparison the fate of the MP5. For the revolver, I accepted that it wasn't looking to be oversaturated. In fact, at only 11,000 current sales, it's most likely only going to be bought by people who actually want to use it. How to approach situations. So now we will look at some potential questions you might have. When should I buy skins if I want to avoid potential oversaturation? In my opinion, based on where you are in the world, time zones and whatnot, I would wait until Wednesday or Thursday to make a purchase. See, by that time you can see on Scm how many skins have been sold and question if that particular item is used enough to consider if there's high enough demand. If it is from a collection, it might help to reference the sales from the previous skins in its collection, but this would only really apply to tier 2 and tier 3 armor pieces and pants and hoodie. So, from here, you can make the decision whether to make a buy order or just do a straight purchase from the Rust store. What should I do if a skin looks like it's going to be oversaturated? Well, I already have answered that earlier. Buy orders. When things start looking pretty bad, you can always look at other skins from the past for that particular item and identify the cheapest prices that its cheapest skins are selling for. You would then realise a reasonable, safe price to offer that would still be profitable to buy at for even the cheapest of skins. How can I prevent flooding the market? I would say selling anything above 10 quantity would start counting as dumping. I usually sell my skins in smaller increments, up to 5, even up to 10 if the situation is very rampant, like post-Christmas. By selling in batches of 5, you'll hardly change the overall quantity of the skin on the Steam market, and with a little bit of patience, you wait until some have sold and just replace them with more sales. Let the skin demand flourish. Don't dump your entire stock, because that only creates walls and that will completely kill momentum. Back in January 2022, I was talking about selling in smaller increments during post-Christmas, as you can see here. Let's have a look. Another neon storage. So there's 232 overall quantity on the market. One guy dumped over 100. So there's 115 right here at 292. Let's have a quick look. Let me guess, I wouldn't be surprised if Neon Tools is around the same price still as well. Neon Tools, and lo and behold, well, that's probably glitched. Yeah, 292, still 292, and there's still a high quantity at 292. It's probably the same person. So these individuals, they cause the price of these skins to never go higher. They become stagnant. They stay, and what's most likely going to happen is other people are going to start dumping their stock. The price starts to go down and down and down because people start competing with each other to dump all their stock. That's not good, and you as an individual who wants to sell their stuff, who wants to make good profits, this is a bad strategy. Sell your stuff in layered out levels, no more of 10. So like I said, you could have done 292 with a quantity of 10 here. You could have done £3 at a quantity of 10, £3.10 at a quantity of 10. Be smarter, don't be lazy, otherwise you are going to cause yourself to not make as much potential profit by behaving this way. And unfortunately this happened for many different skins. but these were just 3 that I took notice of. And as you can see here, this individual is still trying to sell his stock, and he honestly could have made more money if he just sold in batches of 5 to 10 or laid them out in batches of 5 to 10 at different prices. So people like me, I couldn't have made as much. I didn't make as much money as I could because of these individuals, and it's a problem. Like, what have I done quite recently? I had a quick look. I had some Rising Moon sleeping bags. So let's just have a quick look. Rising Moon. I've got a nice batch of them. Should I sell my entire stock? No. Keep an eye on the price. So I looked around. I looked at the price. It's very nice and thin, small quantities. I do want to sell mine for a decent price. So I did the lowest price, which is totally fine. I am competing against other people to sell mine, but I noticed how things are behaving quite at the moment. As you can see here, it says only 36 have sold in the past 24 hours. So knowing that there isn't a major demand for these, but people are buying them out, I listed 5 on the market, and I put them at just a few pennies cheaper than the cheapest one. And I'm quite confident that these will sell today. I have no worry inside of me thinking that this isn't going to happen. They will sell. And yet, like I said, I did that just recently, January 6th. This is what you should do. Sell them in small increments, and when they're all sold, sell some more. I did this on several different accounts, and prices of all skins rose very nicely, very healthily. There was a huge demand for everything, but now we're going to definitely start to see things wind down a bit as we approach springtime. But then as we approach summertime, the skins will go back up in price again. But I worry that this is going to happen all over again. Yeah, but you as an individual, you can learn from these mistakes, and you too can be aware to avoid doing things like this. So thank you very much, and try your best. Learn, please learn. How should I act when a skin has recently spiked in price? So this is obviously very similar to the previous question, but I associate that question more in relation to summer hype or post-Christmas. But for this particular question, I'm more focused with weekly rustore rotations. So skin price spikes can happen every week when a rustore rotation happens, with new additions added to a skin collection, causing pre-existing skins from the set to get bought out and rapidly increase in price. How long this lasts for varies, but if you have a lot of that particular skin and want to make a good profit out of it, then you want to monitor how much you list on the market. Again, selling in smaller increments. To showcase what I mean, I have a good example from May 2022, when the copper set received new skins for its collection. Right, we just had the rustore rotation. It's just actually about to properly happen. 9 o'clock. We just had our predictions as well, so we're going to sort that out. There you go. So I just quickly did a quick buy order on these. There's 209 at the moment. Cheapest one is $2.45, and we know, thanks to the rustore rotation bot, SCM bot, it has showed us that copper hoodie and pants has actually gotten through. Okay, that's good. So now, as you saw earlier, we're going to see a big difference over the course of the next hour with the quantities and the price here. But first, let's do our buy orders when they appear. Okay, what was the original? 254. Left was the original, right was the different. And we of course have gloves, so that would be a better indication. Vesta's going up. Perfect. So it only gets better and better. It only gets better and better. We're not even 10 minutes. It's all going up in price. Quantities down, prices up. It says 4 pennies there because that's a glitch. If I refresh again, no, it's still broken. But don't worry, because we have it right there at about $2.70 at the moment. Now let's go take a look at how copper is doing as a set. So, Mr. Kilt, how are you doing at the moment? Let's load up. Everything's in the positive because everything's just spiked up in price. Oh, how lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now let's go take a quick look over here. So this was earlier. Take a good look. Look at the quantities. 122 for the vest, 254 for the kilt, 105 for the helmet. This was me refreshing a bit earlier. Let's refresh once more. And the quantities are 70 for the helmet, 88 for the vest, 146 for the kilt, and gloves are doing alright too. Okay, let's refresh this. Let's take a look. And yeah, so what's immediately happened? Someone's noticed that the price of these have jumped up, but he's immediately dumped 30 on the market. Don't do this. Don't do this. Sell them in small increments. We can find out who you are as well. Shady. How could you? Yep, yeah, it's got to be that guy. So yeah, don't do this. Don't cause a wall to happen. Let the skin naturally rise in price with the demand. Sell in batches of 3 or 5. Just let it ride the spike, ride the wave. Don't block it. So as you are aware, I do have a lot of these already. Should I sell now? Should I sell later? Well, because I've just seen that big wall randomly appear, some guys just put down 30 of them. I'm not too keen to put any down at the moment, but I could look at the other things, like the vest and whatnot. I'll have to make a consideration in a second. I've got so much copper stuff, and copper kilt is on the front page, unsurprisingly. Let me just go over here. I'm going to look at your questions in a minute, because I know you are asking me things, but I've got to look at this first. Copper kilt. Oh my god, it's up to $3. Okay, right, that's looking real nice. No dumping over here. So what I'm going to do then, I've seen that these are spiked in price. I want to get some money out of this. I'm going to sell some of mine. I'm not going to dump 30 like the guy did in that kilt. I'm going to sell these at like a little bit less and early small batches. 255, so that's about, well, that's not $3, is it? And I'm only going to sell in small batches, as you can see. And let's go over here, another one, and they will appear in the market. I'm not trying to, I'm not being lazy. I'm being tactical, strategic, because I want to maximize my potential profits. I want to make sure that I make good money, so I don't want to halt progress. I just want to ride the wave. So 242 is the cheapest price in my currency. So I'm just going to put 2.41. Yes, I'm undercutting, but I'm not doing it by much, and I'm not putting tons down. There you go. One more. So 3 for each. There you go. That's that. Now let's go see if they've listed. There you go. There's the helmets, and then soon the vests will appear in a minute as well. Give it a while, and then we'll see if they sell. So just got to wait on that now. The copper kilt. It only has 18 there. So the hype for it is so strong that it's completely obliterated this guy's Mr. Shady's profits. What I'm saying is Shady could have sold them in small increments, and he likely would have made more money. The very second he disappears, all of this is getting eaten up. Look at that. Look at how thin it is all here. All of that super thin. This is very likely going to shoot up to about $4 within a couple hours, maybe even higher. Sell them in smaller increments, and you make more profits. If we go back over to here, remember I sold 3 of each, the helmet and the vest. There you go. That didn't take long, did it? How long did that take? What? Good few minutes? Now do it again. So we'll refresh. Go copper. Because of course I do want to sell them, and I do want to sell them for a nice profit, but I don't want to sell too many at once. So the vest has actually gone up in price. It was £2.42 a minute ago. Mine have sold. Now it's up to $2.49. I am going to ride the rise in price. Ride the wave. 2.48. So we'll just do that. Sell more of them real quickly. Another 3. Copy. Oh, making profit is a wonderful, wonderful time. Refresh. Oh, doesn't that look wonderful? Good job, Mr. Duck. Good job. Refresh. Now, what you're seeing now is the buyout has already happened, and now you're going to see people slowly start selling more and more on the market. They've noticed the prices start to go up. So yeah, copper kilt going up to 230 isn't too much of a surprise because, well, not very smart individuals will think, oh wow, it's gone up in price. Time to unload my entire stock all at once. Yeah, so looks like we're going to be bottlenecked up to about $3 now on the kilt. Yeah, it only ruins the momentum of the price rise. So we already had this guy who did 30. His has started to slowly disappear, but that still slowed down the progress, the momentum. And now this guy's put down 86. So I don't think kilt's going to go that far anymore, unfortunately. Not until that disappears. Yep. Quantities are now going to go back up. It's going to start going the other way. More people are trying to sell them than people are trying to buy them. It's just the usual. Just the usual. This is why I only try and sell free at a time. Because I don't want it to get swamped. And I don't want the profits to get ruined. So if I just quickly go check over here again. Did I sell mine? I've sold 2 of them. So, yeah. Maybe this is going to be the point where the spike has already happened and it starts going backwards. Fingers crossed no. Fingers crossed we can still keep going along with it. But it's starting to look a little bit awkward now. Ah, really? It's still here. We were down to 150, 160 quantity at one point. The price of the kilt was steadily going up in price. Then one guy puts down 30 quantity. This is that guy right there. He completely halted the momentum of this kilt. And then this guy turns up and just puts down 86 for some reason. So we were looking at this kilt. It was steadily going to go up to about $3 or $4, and then these 2 individuals just turn up and just kill off all the momentum it had. So could have had more, could have had better profits, but other people just have to exist. And yeah, now we're in that point where it's more people making listings on the market rather than people buying out what's on the market. We are going back in reverse. We are seeing the quantities rise up and the prices are probably going to start going down now. It's a good 30-40 minutes into this now from what we've been watching. But yeah, this is usually what happens. So yeah. Momentum killers, these 2. Very unfortunate. Don't be like that. Sell in nice small increments and you will make sales. But of course, eventually, when everybody else starts doing it, it starts to stop and then it starts to slowly go down in price. So maybe I have to remove these and sell them at small increments at a smaller price. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, just be careful. You don't want to ruin your own profits. So this one hasn't actually changed that much. It's just because loads of people are on the same price. So let's go 246. I have quite a lot of them. If I sell maybe 10, 15, I'll probably be happy. And then I'll save them and see what happens over the weekend. I'm fairly confident more people might jump in and buy out more. Because this is more of a short-term thing. Like, in the long term, there might be more people and more people wanting to buy these out. And of course, more people buying them out means prices go up even further. Got to be careful for such a thing. So I won't sell too many, but I will sell a reasonable amount where I'm happy with the profits I've made so far. I mean, if I sold half of mine at the price I'm selling for, I've pretty much made my money back and a little bit more. So everything else after that is profit. So that's a nice position to be in, don't you think? But just being careful, strategic, slow, just see how things are going. Only sell in small increments. Well, there you go. I've just sold 2 already. Ta-da! So, there you go. I'm not affecting the momentum. I'm riding it. I'm letting it happen. So, yeah. I reckon that's enough for talking about this. And let's just go get a real quick look at the difference from earlier again. So this was earlier. This was about 3.5 hours ago compared to what it is now. So 3.5 hours ago, this was the quantity, this was the price, and now this is what it is now. Refresh. So the quantities did go down by quite a lot, but then they started to bounce back up because more people noticed what was happening, more people started to sell. People are still buying these out, not in major chunks, but you get the idea. So don't worry about that. That's just a glitch. That's not actually selling for 42 pennies. That's just a glitch. But when you see the difference, like the kilt doesn't look like it's changed much now, has it? But that's all just because of one guy listing 86 at once. Oh well. Here we are at the end. Let's wrap up with some final notes. I want to clarify the offline TV event was not to blame for the negatives I've addressed. There's nothing wrong with getting people invested to try out Rust. In fact, the success of the offline TV server actually pushed Facepunch to start getting involved more with Twitch. This is why we get frequent Twitch drop events by watching Slick streamers every few months. A free gift for viewers, which leads to a great boost of viewership for streamers, and then Rust gets high viewership on streams, which is great for Facepunch's benefit. Sounds like a nice cycle for everybody involved. But with the subject of this video, I hope I achieved my aim in explaining what happens with dumping, how it negatively affects you, others, and a skin's overall value. Perhaps if investors back in early 2021 were more aware of SCMM, maybe we would have never had such a disaster happen with that bombing kilt. Oh well. If you aren't 100% sure if you can figure out possible oversaturation, by all means come and visit my Twitch streams. I'm focused on Rust skins mainly on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I can try my best to answer your questions. Other than that, best of luck and have fun trading. Is that oversaturation? Not crazy. Is there going to be people that are going to be dumping on the market? Most likely. But the more and more and more we see of these being added, more graffiti storages, you're going to start noticing that the demand for the sulfur one's probably going to go up and up and up and up. Who let the dog out? Alright. Never... Can I talk? Well, let me talk. Let me close the window.